So my pregnant wife's obsession with the gym was one thing, but when I found her sexting a guy from her gym, everything shattered. Now, she admits the baby might not even be mine, and I'm left wondering if our marriage can survive this betrayal or if I even want it to. My wife is 30 years old, and she's always worked out and been in shape, but lately I feel like it's becoming excessive. She used to regularly work out at a gym when she was in college. At some point she stopped going to the gym, I think lately just due to her schedule, and preferred to work out at home or go for runs outside. About a year and a half ago, my wife made a choice that changed how we live every day in a sneaky way. She decided to renew her gym membership and recommit to the fitness regimen that had been a big part of her life during college. Initially, it seemed like a healthy way to balance the demands of her new job, which thankfully offered more flexible hours than her previous positions. But here's where things started to change. What started as a not too bad 3 times a week gym routine got bigger, more overwhelming over time. At first, the change was gradual enough to go unnoticed. She added a few extra gym sessions each week, explaining that the additional exercise helped her clear her mind and relieve the stress from work. Soon she was spending weekends attending back-to-back classes, and before I fully realized what was happening, her workouts had doubled. The mornings before work and evenings after became dedicated gym times. This increase in her gym attendance seemed to correlate directly with any stress she felt. Whenever she was upset or we had an argument, her immediate response was to head to the gym. It became her refuge, a place to escape whatever was bothering her, rather than dealing with it head-on. Now, she's 4 months pregnant, and I assumed maybe her workout habits would become a bit gentler. But that's not the case. She's still as determined as ever to keep going to her gym sessions, maybe even more so than before. So being pregnant hasn't made her cut back, but rather it looks like she's even more keen on staying fit and healthy. I understand that it's safe for her to work out, especially since she was already in the habit of doing it before she got pregnant, but the intensity is not slowing down. I've tried to talk to her about my concerns, gently suggesting that it might be healthy to find a more balanced approach, especially with the baby on the way. So these conversations often don't go well. She asserts that the exercise is beneficial for her and the baby, and while I know moderate exercise is generally safe during pregnancy, the intensity and frequency of her workouts seem excessive. If she misses one of her normal gym sessions, she becomes so irritable, like a junkie not getting her fix. It's just bizarre. Truly a case of too much of a good thing. I understand that for her, exercising is more than just physical activity, it's a coping mechanism for stress and anxiety. But I worry about the toll it's taking, not just physically but on our relationship as well. The time she spends at the gym is time away from us spending together, and her emotional dependency on her workout routine makes me feel sidelined, unable to provide the support she might need. Find myself wondering about the future, about how sustainable this lifestyle will be once our child is born. Will she be able to pull back enough to balance motherhood with her personal needs, or will the gym continue to be her sanctuary, leaving me to shoulder more of the parenting responsibilities? Sure enough, she becomes upset when I mention that I think her gym habit is becoming too extreme and that I miss having time together because she's so often at the gym. It seems like she enjoys being with her gym friends more than me. Why don't we exercise together at the gym? The gym is her personal space, she says. This isn't because she's all fit and healthy while I'm unfit and overweight. My profession truly requires me to remain fit, so I also work out and maintain my fitness. So I truly can't afford to ignore my health because it's essential to my job. I genuinely feel my wife's gym habits are unhealthy. She's over-exercising, and it's becoming a way for her to escape everything else in her life. Whenever something goes wrong, instead of addressing the issue head-on, she runs off to the gym. It's like she's using the gym to get a temporary mood boost, and then she leaves the problem unresolved. This avoidance has become a pattern, and it's affecting our daily lives more than she realizes. Practically speaking, her constant gym visits mean she's not around to handle her share of household responsibilities. I find myself doing all the chores and preparing meals, which I don't mind doing, but it feels imbalanced. So we should be sharing these tasks, especially with a baby on the way. I know she's committed to her fitness, but there's got to be a middle ground where she can maintain her health without neglecting our home life. People around us have started to notice the change in her behavior. Friends and family comment on how different she seems, mentioning how she sure is at the gym a lot. Her absence at social gatherings and family events hasn't gone unnoticed. Some of them have even asked me directly if everything is okay between us, hinting at the possibility of an affair with someone at the gym. While I don't believe that's the case, it's disheartening to hear such suggestions because it shows how apparent her extreme gym habits have become to everyone around us. This doesn't sound normal to me, and I'm struggling to get her to see that. She insists this is perfectly normal, brushing off my concerns and those of our friends and family. I've tried explaining that while regular exercise is healthy, her current routine goes beyond that. It's not just about physical health anymore, it's about her mental and emotional well-being, and how it's affecting our relationship and our future. We're expecting our first child, and this should be a time for us to come together and prepare for the new addition to our family. Instead, I feel like I'm navigating this journey alone. I worry about how her intense gym schedule will fit into our lives once the baby arrives. Will she continue to prioritize the gym over family time? How will we manage the added responsibilities of parenthood if she's always at the gym? I love her deeply and want to support her, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to balance my support with my concerns. I've tried to communicate this to her in a way that doesn't come off as accusatory or unsupportive, but it's challenging. Every time I bring it up, it feels like I'm questioning her judgment or her commitment to our family, which isn't my intention at all. In an ideal world, we'd find a balance where she can still enjoy her workouts while also being present in our daily lives. I want her to be happy and healthy, but I also want our relationship to thrive and for us to face our problems together, not for her to run away from them. I hope that her pregnancy progresses, she'll see the need to adjust her routine, and we can work together to create a more balanced life. For now, I'm doing my best to manage everything at home and hoping we can find a way to reconnect and prepare for the arrival of our child as a united front. Please tell me that this doesn't sound normal to you. She insists this is perfectly normal. So update 1. I mentioned my wife's intense concentration on the gym not too long ago. She spends the majority of her free time at the gym because it has become an obsession. She occasionally goes twice a day, and on nights when we argue, she sometimes goes 3 times a day to the gym rather than talking to me about it. She insists that we maintain separate workout routines. For her, the gym is a safe space, and she believes I should have my own too. Several times I've asked her to come to my gym so we could make it a shared activity, but she always says no. Now she's around 18 weeks into her pregnancy, and despite her already intense workouts before being pregnant, she's still keeping up the same pace. This is our first child, and I can't stop worrying about how my wife's strenuous exercise might affect both her and our baby who's on the way. Some commented on my last post, speculating that she might be unfaithful. I laughed it off. Sincerely, I truly didn't think she was cheating on me. She looks like she works out a lot because she is in such amazing shape. How she's obviously going there. I had no doubts that there was no adultery involved and that her dedication to health was sincere. However, the remarks caused me to mistrust myself, sowing doubts that I was unable to ignore. When I blogged 9 days ago, I wasn't even thinking about cheating, and I felt pretty secure about the cheating issue. By contract, I'm embarrassed to admit that after reading a lot of the comments on my last post, I thought maybe I was being overly confident about her fidelity. A few days ago, she left her phone on the kitchen counter. Normally, she always has it with her. It felt stupid and guilty, but curiosity and doubt got the best of me. I decided to do a quick swipe through her texts. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't help myself. What I found turned my stomach. She had an ongoing text conversation with a guy from the gym. I recognized his name immediately. She mentions him often, and they've become friends. She's friends with a lot of people there and even went to one of their weddings last fall. Initially, I wasn't too concerned. But as I read through the texts, my heart sank. My heart pounded as I hurriedly flicked through her messages. What I saw made my blood boil. I was furious. The messages were flirty, intimate, and crossed boundaries. They shared details and photos that no one outside a relationship should. Never wanted to know what the guy's D looked like, but I know now. The explicit content shocked me. I never wanted to know what another man's genitals look like, but now I do. The betrayal hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm embarrassed and hurt. My trust has been shattered, and I don't know how to confront her about it. The idea that she could be having an emotional, possibly physical affair while pregnant with our child is devastating. I've always believed in her, in us, and this revelation has left me reeling. I keep thinking about how she uses the gym to escape, and now I wonder if it's not just from stress but from our relationship as well. The gym has become her refuge, a place where she can avoid facing the issues in our marriage and potentially seek solace in someone else. Her insistence on separate gyms suddenly makes more sense. It's not just about personal space, it's about hiding this part of her life from me. Now I'm left with a painful dilemma. Do I confront her about the texts and risk a massive fight that could stress her and the baby? Do I try to seek counseling for us, hoping we can repair the damage? Or do I let it fester inside, growing more resentful and hurt as time goes on? She was only out of the room for literally about a minute or two, so I had to scroll fast. When she came back, I confronted her immediately, asking her what the hell that conversation was about. She started yelling at me for looking at her phone, deflecting the issue back onto me. So I told her she was acting so weird lately and her gym obsession was really bothering me, so I decided to look, even though I was ashamed to admit it. I had thought I'd find nothing at all. She kept insisting, it's nothing, but it didn't look like nothing to me. She seemed pretty interested in this nothing. So I wanted to know if she's been fucking with this guy. For how long? She kept denying it, saying no over and over. The denials only made me angrier. I stormed out of the house because I was so furious, but not before I slammed her phone on the ground, shattering it. She screamed at me, calling me all sorts of names for breaking her phone. In her rage, she hit me on the back as hard as she could. I left, needing to cool off. I went to my brother's house, seeking refuge and a place to vent. My brother and sister-in-law were shocked by the situation, although my sister-in-law had been one of the most vocal ones about my wife's gym obsession being weird and had brought it up to me constantly. Later, I returned home. I found her in bed, shedding tears. Of course, with her phone, she couldn't call me or anyone else. Between her crying, she said stuff like, I wasn't sure if you'd ever come back. It seemed like she was trying to play mind games, wanting me to feel bad for going, but I was too upset to let her crying affect me. Give me a break. I took her phone to get it repaired night. Despite everything, I still felt bad about breaking it. I didn't think she deserved that, but I also couldn't shake the anger and betrayal I felt. Breaking her phone wasn't my proudest moment, but it seemed trivial compared to what I'd discovered. I still don't know how deep this goes. She won't admit to anything beyond what I saw in those texts. Is it just sexting bad enough? Or something more? I'm convinced it was a lot more. But she refuses to hand over her phone now and is acting like I'm the villain here. She's portraying me as some terrible monster who is abusing her because I broke her phone. While smashing it wasn't a mature reaction, I was overwhelmed with emotions. Not my proudest moment, but I honestly wanted Dottie slam her after she punched me. Yet I have never, and would never actually touch her like that. I feel wounded and bewildered by the entire thing. Trust has been broken, even though I want to believe her because I love her. I used to think that her obsession with the gym was a healthy way to release her energy, but it now looks like a front for something darker. I can't help but wonder if we spent all those extra hours together at the gym. I feel ill to my stomach at the prospect, so I love her deeply, and I'm committed to making this work, especially with a baby on the way. The trust, once broken, is incredibly hard to rebuild. I want to believe that we can get past this. That her behavior at the gym and these texts are a cry for help, a symptom of deeper issues we need to address together. For now, I'm trying to process everything and figure out the best way forward. Our baby deserves a loving, stable home, and I'm determined to provide that. But the road ahead looks daunting, and I'm not sure where to start. I hope we can find a way to reconnect and rebuild the trust that's been broken. I'm sorting out what to do next. Do I insist on seeing her phone once it's repaired, or do I let it go and try to rebuild our trust? Part of me wants to demand the truth, no matter how painful it might be. Another part of me is terrified of what I might find out. I keep replaying our confrontation in my mind, analyzing every word and every action, trying to make sense of it all and understand the whole situation. Our relationship has always had its ups and downs like any other, but this feels different. This feels like a breaking point. I can't see a way forward without some kind of resolution. I need to know the truth, but I also need to find a way to forgive her if we're going to move past this. The next few days will be crucial. We need to have a real, honest conversation about what's going on. So I need to hear her side, understand why she felt the need to confide in someone else, and figure out if we can rebuild what's been broken. It's not going to be easy and it's going to take time, but I'm willing to try. For the sake of our unborn child, for the sake of the life we've built together, I have to try. So I just hope she's willing to meet me halfway. Update 2. My wife admitted to an affair, so not sure if posting something on my profile will be seen by anyone, but I don't feel like making another update in a subreddit. Today my wife asked me to stay home from work so we could talk. She spent all day yesterday in bed, trying to get me to feel sorry for her. I paid absolutely no attention to her and ended up leaving the house to go to my family's Super Bowl party. So I wasn't in the mood to go, but I wasn't going to sit at home with her either. It really bothered her that I left. She kept texting me things like, "Who just leaves like that?" When something like this is happening, who is that cold and callous that they just leave to go to a party? I stayed home today to talk to her. She was full of tears, saying she's so sorry. Sat there, listening to her apologies, trying to process everything. She said she didn't know how to stop once it started. The attention was addictive, and she got swept up in the excitement. According to her, she really was going to the gym twice a day because she likes going there. That's where her friends are. It makes her feel good. It's fun for her. She met this guy there, and he started flirting with her. Everyone likes him. He's one of the most popular guys there. I didn't realize there were popular people at gyms. She admitted that she flirted back but didn't mean anything by it. She didn't reciprocate very much at first, but he gave her butterflies and she just found herself flirting back without thinking. She said it felt like when she had a crush on somebody in school when she was younger. They started texting. At first it was just friendly and nothing sexual for several months, but she'd feel giddy every time she got a message from him. She was really attracted to him but told him that she was married and there could never actually be anything between them. Things escalated. The messages became more frequent and more intimate. She admitted that the flirting made her feel alive and desirable, something she hadn't felt in a while. The intensity of her workouts increased as she spent more time at the gym, hoping to run into him. She assured me that she never intended for things to go as far as they did. She swore that nothing physical ever happened, that it was just texting and flirting, but the emotional betrayal cut deep. However, according to her, he kept flirting with her anyway and said, "Sure, we won't cross the line." Told they did cross the line. She said she had tried to resist it for a while, but then one day they kissed. She admitted to enjoying it, but also feeling that it was wrong. She must not have felt that bad because she slept with him for the first time later night. She described it as falling in love with somebody for the first time. All she could think about was him. So is she in love with him? She doesn't know. Is this baby mine? She thinks so, but there's always a small chance it could be his. He always uses a condom, so she doesn't think it's his baby, but they were sleeping together at the time she got pregnant. She says she loves me. She can't help that there's just this huge spark between the two of them. She doesn't know if she loves him. She doesn't know if the baby is mine. She doesn't know why she did this. She doesn't know what she thinks we should do. I sat there trying to process everything she was saying, so felt as though everything in my universe was collapsing. This wasn't just a fleeting indiscretion, it was a full-blown affair. This was a serious issue, not merely a transient transgression. The physical betrayal, the intense emotional intensity, and the uncertainty surrounding the baby were all too much to process. I asked her why she didn't stop when she realized she was developing feelings for him. She said she didn't mean for it to happen. She thought it was just harmless flirting at first, but it spiraled out of control. She insisted she never wanted to hurt me, but she couldn't deny how she felt when she was around him. So it was like an addiction, she said. Hearing her talk about him with such intensity was like a knife to the heart. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness. Part of me wanted to scream at her for destroying our marriage, but another part of me just felt an overwhelming sense of loss. The woman I thought I knew, the life we had built together, all seemed to be slipping away. The moment that really sealed my decision was when she asked, "You would really leave me if it's not your baby, wouldn't you?" I couldn't believe she had the audacity to ask that. My response was immediate and unambiguous. "Of course I'm leaving you. I wouldn't raise another man's child." She seemed genuinely shocked by my firm stance. "Really? With all we share in our past, you won't even think about it?" she questioned, as if the idea of me staying should be a given. So I was resolute. No, I would never consider it. I asked her about the baby again, needing to know if there was any certainty. She repeated that she thinks it's mine, but admitted that there's a chance it could be his. That's when she agreed to get a DNA test, her agreement laced with tears. She broke down crying, saying she's scared and confused, that she doesn't want to lose me, but she doesn't know how to fix this. She tearfully confided, as though I was supposed to feel sorry for her predicament. I don't know who this woman is. She was crying the whole time, but not tears of an ashamed or sorry person. They were tears for herself and meant to try to make me feel bad. Feel bad for what? That her heart is apparently so torn. Her emotional display felt manipulative, an attempt to pull at my heartstrings and make me reconsider my stance based on sympathy rather than genuine reconciliation or understanding. It frustrated me, this apparent tactic of hers to shift the narrative, making her the one deserving of pity while I stood there, struggling with the potential upheaval of my entire life. The more I gave it some thought, the more it appeared that her tears were perhaps shed for the awareness that her actions had irreparably harmed something valuable as well as for the current situation. Even so, though, it didn't feel really sincere. However, it seemed more like a fear of the repercussions of one's acts than a remorse for them. I left the house again, needing space to clear my head. I went for a long walk, replaying our conversation over and over in my mind. Everything felt surreal, like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. How did we get here? So what had gone so wrong that she turned to someone else for the feelings she should have gotten from me? So I thought about our future, about the baby. If it is mine, how do we move forward? Can I ever trust her again? Can we rebuild what's been broken? If the baby isn't mine, what then? Do I stay and raise a child fathered by another man? Or do I walk away from everything we've shared? In the days that followed, as we awaited the DNA test, our home became a silent battleground. So our interactions were minimal and fraught with an unspoken tension. Each of us was lost in our thoughts, pondering the potential outcomes and their implications. I struggled with feelings of betrayal and anger while also mourning the relationship we once had, which now seemed like a distant memory. Navigating this crisis was shaping up to be one of the most challenging periods of my life, but I was determined to face it with clarity and a firm resolve to emerge stronger, regardless of the outcome. Additionally, I did ask her if she'd get the result of a paternity test. I asked her to please not hurt me further by keeping me in limbo about that for months. She said she doesn't want to, so no test happens. Please follow up my story in part 2. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you. Adios.